astronauts returning from space back to planet Earth. Should be pretty dramatic today. The images, the history, everything about the Artemis 2 mission, that's still in the news. Of course, suspense over the Iranian talks. Who knows what comes out of there this weekend? I've heard pessimism, I've heard optimism. We'll just have to wait and see. We're not dealing even with we're in the like third tier of whoever says they're in charge right now in this country. We're not even sure how stable mentally or functionally they are, or if they have authority to implement any of this stuff. I just did a long description of the Strait of Hormuz, not even in a political way. It's just matter of fact geography, military strategy, and all that. One thing I wanted to throw in there, and then Gary and Noel, is it Noel? Noel, somebody, all y'all, line up. We'll get you in here on the phones. Got some other fresh stories coming across right now too. But one other thing to note on that whole explanation, if you heard it, was there's another option for the military a lot of folks haven't considered that's been discussed for 47 years, and that is Karg Island. And you've heard a lot about that since the hostilities started 40 days ago. Now, we've already bombed a lot of the military assets on Karg Island. That was part of the original plan to take out their ability to project power, to bomb their neighbors, to send missiles, to do anything. Karg Island, because it's an industrial / energy hub, it's where I believe it's 90% of Iran's energy goes out of there. It's a little tiny island in the Persian Gulf. It's not their whole GDP, but it's a big enough chunk that it would cripple their country if they can't functionally use Karg Island. So a lot of folks have been suggesting that we would parachute the Marines in there because we've got several expeditionary units that are still in place and ready to go any minute, and they could absolutely take Karg Island. But just like the concept I just gave to you about taking and owning the Strait of Hormuz, it'd be similar. We put the boots on the ground, we control the island, and now we got to stay there to extort Iran into opening the strait. In other words, it's like, okay, you're going to block oil, we're going to block oil. So if we put boots on the ground, we're physically on that island. There's another strategy that's been talked about for years. I even heard freaking Pansy Graham talking about it 15 years ago. But it's that we'd create a naval blockade around Karg Island, which we have the ships in place to do, so they can't functionally use it. We don't have to be on it to block it and to use it as leverage. And that may be on the table. I'm not saying that's the fix, but remember the other thing too. And let me just explain this in terms I can understand based on a bank hostage situation I got myself into covering years ago. It was right before I left TV news business. And I've used this example before. It's the threat of closing the strait that has the strait closed. We don't even know if they can. We don't know if they're where the mines may or may not be. Some sweepers have gotten them out. We don't know where the small boats are hidden. We don't know if they've got shoulder fired stuff on shore. They could pop out of a hole, shoot something from their shoulder, the same kind of weapon that took down the F-15 last Friday, a week ago, could take out a gigantic explosive super tanker, and the whole world's screwed. But the threat that they could do it, even though they may not have no capability of doing it, all they got to do is say they're going to do it, and we've got to take it seriously. And it's like negotiating the end of a hostage situation. It's very similar. So my story is, I was sent out to was supposed to be a bank hostage situation. I think it was in Pinson. Gosh, it's been 30 something years. So it's been 30 years since I covered this story. And the Channel 6 rarely would go to a reporter. They'll go to weather coverage wall to wall and at that time it was James Spann, let him just have the TV station for 3 or 4 hours. They rarely did it with a field reporter, but there I was outside a hostage situation, and I'd gotten too close too fast. I was by this trash dumpster, and they, so the police said, okay, you're fine to stay there, but don't move. Well, we wound up with the best position of all the coverage. All the other news stations showed up late. I beat them. We always beat them. And there we were with our live camera in the perfect position. I was hunkered down by a dumpster, and what we thought was going on was a guy was holding several dozen people hostage, and they were down on the floor in the bank. And the way we thought we knew that was one of the attempted robbers came out of the bank. He went in there to hold them up, came out the door, ran into the police, got in a fisticuffs with the police. They apprehended him, stuck him in the back of a car, and he said, "My partner is holding everybody hostage with a gun." Well, and that's what he told the bank employees. Everybody get down. We'll shoot you if you move. So for hours, and I forget how long it lasted. I want to say it was 2 or 3 hours, maybe more. All these people were laying on the floor. This guy's in the back of a patrol car out in the parking lot. The police thought there was another hostage taker in there, and they were trying to open up communication and talk to him. They didn't want to get anybody hurt. And man, I was thinking I was Geraldo. I was going to win all the awards for my coverage. And it was like Geraldo in that they opened the vault and there was nothing in there. Eventually the police figured out there was no other hostage taker. The bank was empty. It was just bank employees and customers. But there was the threat that he could kill everybody in the bank. And even though there was no possibility because they already had the guy, the threat led the police to surround the bank and go through their protocols and try to do the right thing to end the situation. And they did that even though they had overwhelming firepower, could have driven a truck through the wall any minute. They didn't do that because they didn't want to put the people in the bank in danger. And you want to talk your way out of that because some single guy with just a pistol threatening lives has a lot of power in that moment. Okay. So maybe it's not a good metaphor, but it's the one I'm coming up with right now. In the Strait of Hormuz situation, you've got maybe one guy with a gun who says he's going to do it. And we just don't know. We're not on the ground, so we can't take the chance now to go barging in if there's a way to negotiate an end to this thing or gather more intel and assess the situation and wind it down. There's no massive pressure other than the Europeans are running out of gas and eventually, and in this moment, Trump's chess player enough it's time to call out the Europeans and force them to commit to this because it's going to take a long-term strategy to keep Iran from trying to do this again. And you can't just commit to opening it and own it yourself when it's their problem. So I think I've made that as clear as I can. I get what they're doing. I get why J.D. Vance is on a plane right now. We'd rather let the Iranians, whoever's left, accept the reality that they have no military, they have no nuke program, they can't threaten anybody. But there's an opportunity here to get out of this for everybody, for them to go home alive. We know all of the negotiators, the minute they get back to Iran, we could blow them up as soon as they show up. That the threat against them is much greater than J.D. Vance. He's fine. He's not under threat. They are. The people across the table from our vice president have their lives on the line, and we're trying to give them a way out, and that's worth pursuing, and I hope it works. I'm doubtful because they're sketchy people and they're brutal and they're maniacs, but we've got a hostage situation, and that's all it is. It's a low-tack, simplistic hostage situation. And by the way, just to bear repeating, the United States military that's been so exemplary for all these days and were just phenomenal last weekend absolutely has a plan, and they've had a plan for decades to blow open the strait and hold it. And again, if we hearken back to Reagan, we've already done it. One of our listeners to our show was on those patrol boats. We sent destroyers through there, escorted boats, kept the Iranians at bay, and made sure the oil flowed. We were more vulnerable to it back then. But Reagan had to send the ships in. We've known about this problem. They've known about this problem for most of human history. And so we're going to work it out. There are options for us to control it and to do it. And being impatient just because people don't want to spend more on gas is not the right motivation for doing the wrong thing and causing even more trouble. Or, like I said, having to permanently control the shipping traffic in there for the rest of the world. It's time to force them to step up and police this thing themselves. We've got our own oil. It's affected by the price of that situation, but we're independent. Only because of all the moves the Trump administration made in the early days when he got back in office to reopen drilling and get the oil flowing again, are we not even more vulnerable to a choke point in the world that's always been there, by the way. All right, that's a lot. Let me go to Gary on a cell phone. What's up, Gary?
I was just thinking, well, I love the show, and I was just thinking on the straight, if we have to open it up, I think they should the people we open it up for should have to pay for it, what we spend and use to do that. And I think that after we do open it up, if anybody has to patrol it, I think they should. So
well,
we
of
don't
course,
end up stuck there.
and you can bet, to quote Kay Ivey, you can bet your sweet Bippy that Trump's already got a plan for that too. He for a while floated us charging a toll to pay ourselves back. But right now, the United Kingdom is leading the effort to put an international coalition of escort ships into the region and let them have it. Then we can completely be out of this thing. We're done. I mean, we've already mopped up everything that we came there to do, but we want to hang around and make sure this gets done. And we're having to force them to step up and help. This is exactly where we are. Good suggestion, Bill. Gary, appreciate it, buddy. AJ, did we pronounce the next caller on line 4? Is that Noel? N-O-L-E?
Yes.
Noel, what's up?
Yes, sir. How are you, man? Hey, you're talking about the gas pricing now, and you're right. Don't get me wrong. Now, I voted for Trump. I'm right wing. I'm a Christian, and I'll vote for Trump again if possible. But okay, end of February, 1st of March, I was given $2.89 a gallon for diesel fuel on 18 wheels.
Yep.
All right, and I'm home every day now. All right. Last week my fuel bill was $1,265 for a week. This week is $1,500 even. I talked to the driver yesterday. His fuel bill is $2,300 a week. Okay, and you know, the oil price. I've checked the oil price not daily, but about every other day. It's never been over over 112 a barrel since we've been over there. You know, in this death step. And as of today, it was $89 a barrel. Wednesday, when I bought fuel, I give $5.18 for it, and it was 97. And today it was 89, and I give $5.38 for it. So I have went from just in 9 days of Wednesday of last week, I was giving $5.01 to today I give $5.38 for it. So it's went 37 cents in 9 days. Where you were talking about y'all pull up and put 20 gallon in. I mean, you know, everybody does. You know, we drive the car. But we pull up and put 150 gallon at a time in. So you're talking, I just passed the truck stop right there, and it's $5.67.
Oh, yeah, it's
gallon.
huge. Look, I can relate to you a little bit. I don't drive for a living, but I got a diesel motorhome that got a 100-gallon tank. I've got a trip planned this summer that would cost me, I got to fill up probably 6 times on that trip, maybe more. I mean, shoot, probably 12 times on that trip. And every one of those fill-ups, like you said, it's going to cost an extra $100. So it starts to pinch especially if you're commercial. But what I'm saying is it sucks, but we're not in a crisis. During Biden's administration, the price per barrel was higher, the price at the pump was higher for a sustained amount of time, and there wasn't an obvious. It's because he was attacking the energy infrastructure, not trying to free it for years to come from these maniacs. The end result of all this is going to be cheaper fuel for all of us if we can get through this tough spot. And I feel sorry for you having to pay those prices, man.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yeah. When Obama was in it, it was costing me $1,700 a week, easy. You know,
I
and
believe
it stayed that way for several weeks.
Because he was hostile to the oil industry.
That's
he had them under attack. Trump's trying to open it up. We opened up Venezuela. We're about to have the Chinese are not going to be able to buy black market Iranian oil. And the whole region is going to be able to prosper and send oil all over the world. That'll drive the price down for 15 years if nothing else happens, right?
Right. You know, I call him old Biden. Old Biden said that, you know, he was going to drive out the oil companies. You know, he was going to put them out of business and everything. But, you know, the oil companies under Obama and Biden said that they made the biggest profits they ever made under anybody. And you know, that's what I said. I wished, as a joke, I wished them to hated the American people and put the money in our pockets like he put them in the oil company, because they run the price up. And, you know, he was all the time hollering he hated them, but he was lining their pockets, you know. And but anyway, but y'all have a good day. Appreciate it. Thanks.
All right, man. Yeah, there we go. Let's go to, and I'll talk to y'all about the profit on oil too here in just a minute. Let's go to Richard though in Jasper. I want to be good to the callers this afternoon because we're going to run out of time in a minute. We got to go home and have a weekend. What's up, Richard?
Hey, Leland.
You don't sound like a Richard.
Well, Shug, I'm sorry. I just want to tell you that your voice is almost as sexy as Trump's hair.
That's sad. I could never be that sexy. Are you kidding? I mean, that's a virtual squirrel's nest.
I'm sorry, I can't hardly hear you, Shug.
All right. Thank you, Richard. I appreciate it, man. If the show wasn't so late, AJ, you know how I do. I would play along with that for 10 minutes.
Yeah, I was trying to get him to get to the point. He was trying to talk about the Vulcan wearing the tutu.
Yeah, people are fun. I miss the Fun Friday shows when we used to just do whatever. But yeah. All right. So let's do this. I tell you what, let me get the break in here. We'll reset the phones. I've got a correction to make something one of our listeners said yesterday. Sort of a correction, a clarification. I've got more information on a situation about a cop that was tried for having to shoot somebody. Found out more about that last night thanks to some of our listeners that pay attention. And I wanted to get that out there before the show's over today. So we'll do that here in just a minute. Douglas Cooling and Heating next up here on the show. That is my heating and air company. I just think the world of them. Man, that's probably my longest business relationship. I started trying to think back. I'm going on 17 years of them helping me out. It started with a blown up system in the middle of a hot summer while I had company. That was rough. That was real rough. You don't want that scenario. If you've got one on the last leg, replace it now while the weather's nice and take advantage of the extended warranties and the financing and everything they can offer at Douglas. But in the meantime, they've every house, when I go to buy one, you know, y'all have an inspector. I make sure that I get a AC inspection. I get Douglas to go take a look too. I learned a lesson about that buying a house in the past. You don't want to inherit a big mechanical problem. So have your experts look. So second opinions, somebody else has looked at it. You're not sure they're shooting straight with you. Douglas will come take a look and give you their opinion. That's always smart as well. Service work, I emphasize that a lot on the show because people just neglect that. So did I 17 years ago. I quit doing that. I get my stuff cleaned out, checked every single year, twice a year. Douglas has a great program for that. Saves you money in the long run. Makes you more comfortable too. Y'all, this is a top-notch company. They've got a plumbing side as well. CallDouglas.com. License number 2017181. You can get them at CallDouglas.com. Back in a minute. All right, y'all. 527 Leland Live Talk 99.5 Launius Furniture Company bringing you the show tonight. LAUNIUS. Y'all go furniture shopping this weekend. Look around, man. You're going to be impressed with this place. You just will. It's where we had a guy called the other day from Pickens County. Yeah, it's a long way from Kimberly. And he told us, he said, man, you were telling the truth. That was worth the trip. It's a long drive, but he got everything he needed. He said he bought this giant sectional, got a good price on it, loves it. I mean, 7 pieces, he said. You just can't go piece all that together in a small furniture store. They got the furniture. It's 1 acre of furniture under one roof. Y'all go see them. Let somebody, that wonderful team, they got the sweetest people that work there. They'll either help you or leave you alone. Whatever you desire. They got a good feel for that. It's LauniusFurnitureCompany.com, LAUNIUS, LauniusFurnitureCompany.com. Yesterday we had a guy call up, and he wasn't quite sure about the facts of a case where he thought somebody was making the suggestion that the Attorney General, Steve Marshall, had worked to convict a cop that had shot somebody back in 2016. It was one of those probably characteristically unfair attacks. The details of that case are very, very much different. It didn't seem to me to be logical, and I said this yesterday, but I didn't know anything about the case, that a state attorney general would be prosecuting a local cop for a shooting, and it turned out that's exactly what happened. It was the Montgomery District Attorney's Office that prosecuted a cop for a shooting back in 2016. We had pulled over a guy, white cop, black guy, so you know how that's going to work out in Montgomery County. So they put the cop, they convicted the cop and put him away after he had gotten into a chase and really a confrontation and a fight with this suspect who, and the cop he mag dumped him and got convicted for it. It's a tough job being a police officer, but actually the way the case ended, it involved the Attorney General. And this case predated Steve Marshall being in that office. But they were able to get a plea deal to get it pled down to manslaughter to get him time served to get him out of prison over the conviction. They believe he was unfairly over prosecuted, which we've seen in this country before, especially in that time frame. So that was a little more detail. I appreciate one of our alert law enforcement officers who was listening to the show that day. People hear what they want to hear, but we were just trying to figure it out yesterday. But that's the background. I said I would do some homework on it, and there it is. All right, we got Eric Swalwell getting accused of stuff, believe it or not. It's disgusting. We'll talk about that in a minute. And go talk to Chloe, who's hanging on. Y'all stay tuned. All right, let's keep going. Time for Thomas, man. It's Thomas time. He's over at Stockton Mortgage, getting ready to wrap up a week of helping people get their dreams done. Thomas, what's going on, man?
Man, that is exactly right. You know, I had a family friend that reached out to me on Facebook that actually is my next door neighbor growing up that reached out to me. I grew up in Mississippi, actually, and he reached out to me, and he's an agent over in Mississippi. And he said, man, I had a borrower that was having some problems with a local lender over there, and he said, hey, are you licensed Mississippi? And I said, absolutely. I said, I'm licensed in 7 states. He said, man, I would love for you to talk to him. So he had me contact this borrower, and we're able to get them pre-approved. And man, we just love helping people, whether it's here locally or in multiple states around us. I'm licensed in all the states that touch Alabama. And man, so if you have friends or family that are outside the state of Alabama and they need help or they have questions about their mortgage or purchasing a new home, hey, have them give us a call. We'd love to sit down and talk with them as well. So hope you guys have a great weekend, but have them give us a call, 205-859-8859 or savewithstockton.com.
Savewithstockton.com. That's a good word, Thomas. I didn't even know y'all worked outside of Alabama. That's good stuff.
Absolutely. I'm licensed in Alabama, Mississippi, Tennessee, Louisiana, Florida, Kentucky, and Georgia.
You got the Southeast covered. That's good stuff, man.
That's right.
I appreciate you, Thomas. We'll talk to you. Have a great weekend, buddy.
All right, man. Yes, sir. All right, bye-bye.
There's Thomas and the Stockton Mortgage and all them doing what they do. Eric Swalwell has a scandal brewing as he's running for governor, so here comes the sex scandals. And I want to give a disclaimer and apologize in advance to the audience for creating any visual images in your head of Eric Swalwell having the humbada with anybody. But the story's out there. TMZ's now on it. It's been floating around for a while. Apparently there's a parade of former staffers, and this gets very serious. This ain't Fang Fang all over again, which, by the way, was a spy operation. I think more of that's going to come out. But these are former staffers that claimed he was abusive. He may have drugged them, that they were inebriated and woke up in his bed, whatever. We'll see how far this goes. And and then he would intimidate them, try to get them to sign NDAs, and it's a parade of them, but 2 have come forward, and so all that's hitting the news tonight. What a smarmy individual. Of course he'd have to drug them. The generosity of women toward men does not include Eric Swalwell getting any. So I'm sure he had to come up with a plan. Fang Fang wanted spy information, so we know what she wanted. Anyway, so I'm sure that's going to be a nasty little story for next week. By the way, if you are running for office in Alabama, let me get Chloe in here. I think she wants to talk about the primary anyway. Then I'll tell you about that. Chloe, what's up?
Hey, quick question, different topic.
Sure.
What are your thoughts on a closed primary? Yes or no?
I've been no for years. And I used to be yes back in the 90s, and I got talked out of it because it winds up excluding people that don't want to have to identify with the party but will vote for your candidate. So if you start forcing people to register, you're going to lose independence, and then you're going to need them. See, again, that only applies to the primary, right? So if you create a country club in the primary and you exclude independents, and they're not invested in your candidate, and you get to the general, well, then it's a jump ball at that point. You open up an opportunity for Democrats to win independents back.
Right, because I have friends who are libertarians.
Sure.
I guess they would be independents, but I have friends who are libertarians, so they don't want to register either way.
Right, I don't either.
So,
I don't want to have to register in anybody's party, but I'd like the opportunity to vote. We're stuck in this 2-party system. There's 2 kinds of libertarians. They're philosophical libertarians, little L libertarians, and then the big L libertarians are actually in a party. They have a party here in Alabama that's somewhat functional, but they rarely get ballot access. And so my thing with by the way, the bill died in the legislature, and the Republican Party put out. Yeah, it died. It's over. It ran out of time. The caucus couldn't get together on it. They were getting pushback. So it died off, which is, I think, ultimately good. I can see some merits in it. I understand people want purity. They don't want crossovers deciding who their candidates are. But at the same time, you're either going to appeal to everybody or you're going to have a country club. You can't do both. You can't be exclusive and inclusive in your primary process. They're mutually, that's mutually exclusive. So you just wind up walling yourself off, I think, and not building goodwill toward the general, which is where it really counts. Republicans feel like they have such control of the state that they can wall off their primary and then put anybody they want in office because the Democrats are not a threat. But I think you're giving, and even though the Democrats were opposed to this too, you're giving the Democrats a huge opportunity to steal some of your voters down the road, especially with the way the Republicans are behaving like Democrats right now with their tax bills and some of the other stupid stuff they keep pushing. I think it was a mess of a bill, and it's probably unwise down the road. I'm glad it failed.
Yeah. Thanks, man.
All right,
Thanks,
Chloe. And I
Thanks,
got got really good friends that all about closed primary. They think we should all sign up and Republicans should vote for their people and put them up. And maybe you could do that. Well, in that case, have a convention. Have a Republican convention. Have your members there. Put up your nominees, and we'll see you in November. But if you're going to have the state pay for your selection process, and then you're going to wall it out to the members only. AJ, do I have to wear that jacket from the 80s? I may still have one that said members only. It says GOP members only. If I got to wear that to the voting booth, I feel a little put upon as somebody who doesn't want to have to identify with these people, especially if the Republicans want to grow their party. Quit crapping on your brand name by doing all the dumb stuff that's come out of that legislature lately, all the handing the power company the keys to their own regulation, raising taxes on people. They keep trying to give the teachers union power to steal dues before their members even get to see it in their paychecks. We got away from all that. We fought all that, got away from all that. And now they're trying to go right back because they're taking money from the same people that used to give their money to the Democrats. It is a closed loop system. It drives me crazy, man. It drives me crazy. It drives me crazy. 5:42. I started singing, man. What's going on?
I have no idea.
I know. I'm sorry. Just trying to see if you were paying attention. I knew that would freak AJ out. EcoView Windows, ecoviewwindows.com. Button up your house, get it right, get it tight with EcoView. Becky Jackson just has the absolute best window and door company. She just does. I'm not exaggerating. Reach out to them and see what I mean. I challenge you. Get an estimate from somebody else and then let them give you one. You're going to respect their price. You're going to look at the quality of the work. They have the best installers. It comes down to the installers, man. If you don't put a window in right, you got problems. I don't care how good the product is. Becky Jackson and her team just happen to have superior products and the best installers. And that's why they can back it with all the warranties, even after they're long gone. And they've got this 35% guarantee because they believe in the efficiency of their product to button up your house and save you 35% on your heating and cooling bills. It's ecoviewwindows.com. ecoviewwindows.com. I'm trying to make sure. It seems like we had 2 or 3 stories breaking at once, and it was not all Iran and the splashdown. By the way, we're 1 hour and 33 minutes. You'll be doing Breaking Bread, AJ. Are y'all going to try to watch it when they come down out of the sky, or are you going to be so tired you ready to go home? And apparently AJ died right in the middle of the show. I'm
No.
He's
I'm
my
sorry.
friend.
I was on the phone. You can't see me because I'm on the phone, so I apologize.
You should be mandatory AJ cam the whole show. You have to look at me for 4 hours. I need to know what you're doing.
Oh God! No, well, I was on the phone, so I apologize. I was actually talking to Richard. He called back again. He said you hurt his feelings because you hung up. I told him like you took too long to get to the point.
Yeah, man, I got the show got real serious and I was moving along. I just wasn't feeling like being playful. I'm sorry, Richard. Get a comfort dog. The animal shelters adopting pets all the time. That'll make you feel better. Got to deal with your feelings if you're going to deal with this show. I got time.
Right.
Nobody got time for that. All right, let's quick break. We'll come back and I'll wrap it up. Y'all stay tuned. Man, we even have stuff developing as we're trying to get out of here. It reminds me a little bit of last Friday. Let me talk to you about Alabama Dental, and then I'll try to explain. First up, Alabama Dental Associates. Man, that's my dentist. That's Dr. Brian. He's my personal dentist there, even though there are 4 dentists in the practice. These are great guys, all experts in different areas of dentistry, different specialists. And that's a design. They put their practice together that way so they can cover everything. They put all the investment into all the latest tech to diagnose and treat you. And then they said, since there's 4 of us, let's stretch our hours out. Let's staff it so that we can stay open late, give people a little choice nowadays. Most doctors' offices are like banker's hours. It's daytime stuff, and you got to take off work. It's hard to do that nowadays when you're so busy. Kids got stuff going on, and then you neglect yourself. Treat yourself to a dentist appointment. Get your cleanings, get your x-rays, and do it after work. Do it on Saturdays, and do it with a great practice that can take care of everything you bring in there with just a wonderful team around them. I always enjoy talking to everybody, except when they got all the tools in my mouth and they start asking me multiple, long-form essay questions. It should be yes/no questions for all dental hygienists, yes or no. And that's it. That's all you can do. You're like, uh-huh. So you got plans to travel? Where are you going this summer? Well, I love it. Y'all go see him at alabamadental.com, alabamadental.com. All right, let me start with Iran. We'll go back to Iran for a second. I've seen reports about this today. You have to be dubious because information from the ground there is not in the least bit reliable. Most of the propaganda that comes from the ground there is just that, coming from members of the regime that are left over. Again, remember, the country is fractionalized into what we believe are about 26 districts. They've got a little bit of autonomous control, and they're not getting along. They disagree over how to handle this. In other words, and this is the game I believe, and I said this the other day, I'm not trying to be Nostradamus. I'm just telling you, I believe this ceasefire is an opportunity space for the people on the ground to start some trouble with the regime. They can't do it while we're dropping 13,000 bombs on the country, especially in these provinces that are not directly in Tehran, because the will has been there. Y'all remember they were in the streets and got 40,000 of their own fellow citizens killed trying to resist this regime until we started bombing, and they had to go into hiding, and they're dying to get back out. They don't have small arms weapons to protect themselves against the IRCG. But slowly, as the IRCG becomes fractionalized, and we believe there's been a smuggling operation to get weapons on the ground, the civil war inside that country could be about to break out. I've just got this vibe about it. The reason I say that is a little while ago I saw other multiple reports that the street fighting has begun, and it, again, could be an exaggeration, and it's an awful situation for these people, but the people on the streets are now shooting at IRCG people, and you've got some of these field commanders and captains and stuff on the street level. They're taking their uniforms off and joining the side of the people. I don't know if that's going to get critical mass. I don't know which countries this is happening. I've just seen some videos and a lot of different reports that keep coming out today that this is starting to fire up. And it makes sense that if they were going to take that chance and try to wrestle control of their country back, it would be while the leadership is distracted with fighting with each other over how to settle with us, and we're not bombing. The cessation of shooting gives our troops a minute to rest and to resupply. We're rushing resupplies into the region right now to keep the pressure up. And it gives the Iranian people a chance to potentially fight back on the ground. That could be the development we need. While they're talking in Pakistan and the government is fractionalized, they're more vulnerable right now than they've ever been to an uprising. And if it starts that way, if it becomes that, I think you just got to throw prayers up for the people, these citizens in Iran, to maybe be able to get their country back. I'll be hopeful. It's easy for the media to cover rocket launches because you can see those things flying through the air and it's very dramatic. But the street level stuff, we're going to have to really struggle to get real information that's usable over here in America, whatever is going on the ground. But I'll be watching that, of course, this weekend too. The Eric Swalwell story. It's taking a life of its own this afternoon. The rumors about this have been circulating for a minute. There was even a rumor circulated that Pam Bondi had even leaked to him that some of this stuff was about to happen. And that was one of the things, was the final straw with Trump, that she was, not that it was classified, but it was information that was helping Swalwell out to know there was going to be incoming. But as of this afternoon, there are 4 different former staffers of his that claimed not that they had affairs and stuff like that, but that he sexually assaulted them, maybe even under the cover of being drugged. And that story is, it was one thing for these little corners of the internet to put this mess out while this, now look, I hate Swalwell. He's smarmy and needs to probably be arrested for allowing himself to be compromised by a spy. But this is disgusting behavior for anybody. And now it's starting to break loose on him. And they came in a group. They seem to have text messages and supporting documents. And he's straight up being accused. I hate the R word, just use it on the air like this. You may have kids listening, but y'all, he's being accused of the R word. I just don't want your kids to have to ask you what that means. So they probably are still asking you. So that story's getting, man, it's getting oxygen tonight. And apparently even a big teachers union that had endorsed Swalwell, everybody's getting cold feet on him and they're running. So they've dropped their endorsement, newscast having him on, talking about it right now. It's, one of them says, just to give you some detail, I don't want to get into the sordid stuff, but he assaulted her twice, and she believes he drugged her and blah, blah, blah. And we'll let that play out. This is more immediate than when you see these kind of things happen and somebody brings up something that might have happened in a closet 20 years ago in high school. Remember all that against Judge Kavanaugh. This is a little bit more urgent. And he looks the part. He's a sleazebag. We'll see. All right. Now let's move on to a couple other things. Something I mentioned a second ago I never paid off on, I need to talk about. If you are in the Republican primary right now and you want to beat your opponent, my advice to you is reach out to Tucker Carlson and get him to endorse your opponent. Little pro tip, just saying, it's a strategy. Y'all can use it. You're welcome. Problem is he is like 0 for 3 right now of candidates he's decided to get involved with. That's a bad move for him. He should just be a commentator and stay out of the races because he doesn't have pull. The polling shows that. And so these candidates are slowly either dropping out or losing in some of these primary contests. So anyway, speaking of that, I got to be real. Y'all know, let me talk about the Attorney General's race for a minute. I haven't really dialed in on the statewide races. We're about to have to because we're a little over a month out. I've got candidates reaching out. I'm trying to be fair to the larger candidates. I'm not going to bore you with everybody running for every corner. I can't. We just can't turn the show over to senseless interviews over boring stuff where it doesn't really affect most of the audience. But the statewide races affect everybody that's listening in Alabama. So we'll deal with those candidates later. My man, Jay Mitchell, somebody needs to rethink the ad he's running where he's talking trash about you can Allah Akbar your butt back to, man, that's terrible. Jay's a smart guy. He's a friend. In that same race, he's being attacked by some anonymous group. Now that's my shot at Jay. Fix that ad. That's awful. But at the same time, he's being really unfairly attacked over the IVF ruling. They've falsely twisted what that ruling really did into what is, even though it's unfair and it's bald-faced wrong, it's effective. It's an effective ad that they're trying to dirty him up and get his negatives up. And granted, that's fair game. That's a policy issue over an issue that was in the courts. That's a resume thing, but they're going to have to work through that in that race. I'll be watching. I know that the all his opponents are reaching out right now, trying to get on, and we'll schedule everybody and get them on very, very soon. Here we go with the primary. You're about to be inundated with that mess. OxStrong.com. One last time for my foundation company. If you've got anything you suspect going wrong in your house, or maybe you don't have a clue because you hadn't thought about it, go look around. If you see sticky doors or cracks in the walls or warped floors, anything weird, water, Lord, any sign of water, you smell it, see it, taste it, observe it in any way, get that out of your house. Ox does all of it. Foundation repair, water removal, cracks, shifts, leveling your house, mold removal, encapsulation. They're the full service, absolutely professional company to help you with these things. Oxstrong.com, oxstrong.com. See y'all Monday.
Goodbye, AJ.